This week on Therapy, it's trauma therapist, parenting expert, and recovering good kid, Maggie Nick. Maggie's book, Good Kids: Why You Suffered in Silence and How to Break the Cycle, is about the invisible trauma of being the child nobody ever needed to worry about and how to heal yourself and break that cycle for your kids. If you were ever called an old soul, a delight to have in class, so mature for your age, you probably grew up a good kid. You were quiet, easy, responsible, so disciplined, you basically raised yourself. You were the one everyone counted on, and you wore it like a gold star. Yes, me, I feel seen. But nobody ever checked on you, and you're exhausted from proving your goodness by being an overachieving, people pleasing perfectionist, pushover, and shape shifting chameleon. If you feel seen, like I do, this episode is for you. And Maggie's book is for you. Good Kids is about the invisible trauma and cost of always being good, a lifetime of bottling your emotions, performing calm while constantly scanning everyone around you for the slightest sign of upset or disappointment, and the crushing fear of being a burden. Ugh, I still do it. I still feel it. Always worrying that you're in trouble. I still do that as an adult. Good Kids gives you the clarity and validation you've been searching for your whole life, and the handbook for how to heal and break the good kid cycle for your kids. Maggie is here today on Therapy to help me from the fallout of being easy to raise and show me how to support my own kids so I'm not raising the same type of kid. If this rings true for you and you want to make sure you break that cycle, please consider sharing this episode, sending it to a friend, subscribe so you get episode alerts every time a new Therapy drops. Follow me on Instagram at I am Erin Washington, the show on Therapy with Erin Washington, and follow Maggie Nick at Maggie with Perspectacles. And now your weekly dose of Therapy with Maggie Nick. So, since the past time that you've been on my show a couple years ago, we've both had rebrands. My
Yeah.
show was Squats and Margaritas, and you were Parenting with Perspectacles, and we have both rebranded. And I don't know how much you know about therapy now, but now I just do live therapy with a mental health professional or a coach on whatever I'm going through, which right now, we talked a little off camera, is divorce, co parenting, sobriety, parenting a child with neurodivergency. And today you are here to not only help me unpack my good kid trauma that I talked about in the intro, but to help me not pass this along to my kids so they do not grow up living like I still do now. And we're going to get to my coaching that I want from you, but I want to
Oh,
start
yeah.
with your good kid story. And I have to say, the dedication of your book. I love that you dedicated it to your kids, but can you also share who it's also dedicated to?
I dedicated it to little me, little Max. Here, I'll read it. I have the book here somewhere.
Please.
Oh, you know what? I left the book in my office, but
I
I
have it.
remember. Oh, you have it? Will you read it? I was
Uh-huh.
all set up and then I didn't have my charging cord,
Okay.
guys, so I had to rush home. Okay.
It's dedicated for little Mags. I dedicate this book as a love letter to you and your relentless, fierce, beautiful spirit. I'm sharing your story to help other good kids heal. I'm so proud of you and us. Yes, I'm doing a lot of inner child stuff. And the way I talk to myself, it's like, would you have talked to that little girl on those
Right.
little VHS tapes that you saw? And the answer is absolutely not. Let's
Yeah.
start with your good kid story. I know you were kind of attuned to your mom when it should have been the other way around.
Yes. I mean, there's a spectrum of good kids, and I was like all the way on the more debilitated end. Not everybody was as debilitated as I was. And in the book I try to account for that, right? That not everybody's gonna, have all of these issues that I have. But
We
in
have.
my
We
counseling and
have.
coaching, you have
We have.
a lot of us do though. And like the people trying to call bullshit in my comments, I'm like, why
No.
don't you just scroll through these comments for a minute and just see how many of
I
us there are? There are a lot
I
of
feel
us.
seen. I'm the same.
Yeah.
Very high spectrum good kid. Okay.
Yeah. So I was the perfect child, the good kid, the one that nobody ever needed to worry about, the delight to have in class. I was talented and gifted, all of it. And I really thought I was fine. Like I did. I had a great childhood. I would have told you that. And it wasn't terrible. That's the thing that makes this so sneaky and confusing and insidious is that I did objectively have a great childhood. Like my family life seemed good. I just when I started, the thing that got me into therapy
Mhm.
was my eating stuff. I
I
had a
want to
very
talk about that.
complicated relationship with food. And I had read a couple books. I had recognized that it was binge eating disorder and I was numbing with food. Okay. But why? Right. And the thing that I kept circling was shame. I didn't have a word for it yet because I hadn't found Queen Bee, Dr. Brene Brown, and all of her work that just blew the whole thing wide open for me. But I kept circling this, like, what is wrong with me feeling? Well, why do you feel like you can't make anybody mad? Oh my God, they'll stop loving me. And my therapist being like, how are we making that jump?
Yeah.
Help me.
So,
And I'm like, I don't know, but like, man, the like terror in my heart that like nobody can ever be mad. I just didn't realize like my childhood was good on the outside, right? I was a 3-sport athlete, very successful academically, lots of friends, fine, right? Crushing life. But as I started to heal in therapy, I started therapy in 2007, finally. It was like, oh, but I have to work really hard to like keep that. Like maybe when I'm alone by myself, things get kind of dark fast,
oh my
right?
God.
I'm like the nicest person you've ever met. People would tell you that I am like sunshine and rainbows and long walks at the sunset on the beach. Like I am the most encouraging, most kind person you've ever met. And like there was definitely one day in like probably 2011. I was working in the DA's office as a social worker with victims of violent crime. I did that before I went to grad school. And there was one of the prosecutors. And I just remember I was like, Karen, I love your outfit today. And for some reason in that moment, I was like, oh, and I just saw the contrast of like how nice I am to everybody else. And then how it's like the voices stood up next to each other. And I'm like, oh, like, why am
Yes.
I so mean? Like people would have been horrified to know how terrible I was to myself. It's almost like I had shame about how ashamed I was,
Yes. Oh,
right?
I totally feel, yeah, and then when you're just said something like it was a lot to uphold all those accolades that you
Oh,
rattled off. I was same. I was captain of the soccer team. I was prom queen. I was homecoming queen. Nobody knew what was I was also anorexic. Like to uphold that, I didn't want to let anybody down. And
yeah.
my eating disorder started in high school. And I've heard
Mhm.
you say you binge to quiet the voice inside, the not enoughness. I
Oh,
believe
yeah.
I mine actually evolved into bulimia, but I think I did the
Mhm.
binge and purging behaviors for that same
Mhm.
reason, to kind of
Yeah.
regulate my nervous system and like have
Yeah.
like a release and then feel calm. And you credit nervous system regulation for kind of changing the way that you used to live and how you live now. I'm not there yet. So how do you regulate now? And can you
Oh,
teach me how to do that?
100%. And I talk about it in the book quite a bit. I tried not to get too sciencey. Like I is trying to cover a lot of ground in the book. So I try to give enough information that you have actionable tools and tips, but not like so much that you're like, okay, too much science. So thinking in terms of regulated versus dysregulated. And like I just want to say real quick that like, was this ever taught to me in graduate school to become a therapist? Not a single time.
Whoa.
Not a single time. Like I was a psychology and sociology double major in undergrad. So I remember taking nervous systems and behavior and neuropsychology or, an advanced course of that. Fascinated by it. It's funny to think back now that 30 years ago, I was like, this is fascinating. And then didn't
Yeah.
know where my life would take me. But no, and so there are a lot of therapists who are not here yet. Like this is kind of cutting edge stuff in trauma therapy, which sounds crazy, but it's just the reality of where we are.
Mm.
So if you're a therapist and you're hearing this, it's okay. Like it was not taught to me. I had to basically stumble into it backwards and be like, oh, my best friend is a trauma therapist too. She is certified and does EMDR full time. She was the first one. It was like mention regulation, and I'm like, oh yeah, my nervous system.
Yes.
Maybe that's involved. Maybe you
Yes.
think. So it's okay if we're not there yet, but we want to think in terms of like the moments that you can control yourself, right? You can make good choices. The moments that we can be kind, that we can feel the big feelings, but also overcome that to be kind, right? The moments
Hmm.
we want to tell our kids just shut the up, right?
Hmm.
That we're just overwhelmed, but we can like,
Yes.
right? This is a matter of regulation versus dysregulation. Like really our nervous system, which includes our brain, um, was wired for survival. It's not wired for happy feelings. It's literally life or death, right?
Damn it.
And I know. The good news is when we're regulated, we feel happy generally. So it's
Yeah.
just, but it's not concerned with like making sure, that our life is happy and good. It's trying to keep us alive. And
Yes.
so we have a whole threat detection system in our nervous system. And unfortunately, it kind of goes back to like the way we were raised. The clinical term is relational shame trauma. Like good kid trauma is relational shame trauma. So it's relational, it's inside of our relationship with our parents.
Mhm.
And it's trauma in the sense that we felt overwhelming feelings like shame, right? So if we messed up as a kid, right? Especially if we were the good kid, we weren't allowed to mess up, right? Like the bad
Mhm.
kid, our sibling who problem child messed up every day. But God
Yeah, they
forbid we
expected
have
that
like
from
a
them.
moment.
Yep.
Right. We have one human moment and we get, I expected more from you. What is wrong
Mhm.
with you? Not mad, I'm disappointed. Shame is the most profound dysregulator of our nervous system, period, the end. So
Hmm.
our threat detection system went, okay, well, we don't have to worry about actual bears, thank goodness, hopefully for us. But that's the threat now. It's like we cannot fall out of favor with them. They don't love us when we're like that. They don't like us. And they've made it kind of clear based on how they withdraw and act like they don't give a shit about us, that like we're not lovable when we're like that. So it's like we have this list of like, here's how I have to be lovable. I have to make sure they're never mad at me. I have to be impressive, right?
Yes.
Like I have to carry a load that is impressively oppressive. Like other people would crack, but not me. I'm not even sweating. I'm
Yeah.
good,
Oh my
right?
god. I still do that. Yes. Yes.
I know,
Yes.
same. I'm still healing from this too. We can never disappoint anyone. We basically have to shapeshift like a chameleon everywhere. Like, who are you? What will be the most likable, lovable version for you? I'll just shapeshift into that. Right? So you think I'm funny, so I'll be really funny. Or you need me
Yes.
to be serious, I'll be really serious. Like how can
That's
I
my
be likable and
value.
lovable for you? What is the acceptable
Yes.
version of me to you? And so we don't know who we are because we're too busy shape-shifting, because our nervous system is terrified and treats it like an actual life or death situation. Like it feels like somebody being mad at us equals they don't love us. So we lose them. It feels like somebody being disappointed. It's like literally the end of the world. That means I'm a failure.
Yes.
And God, I can't let anybody ever see that. And so it hijacks our nervous system and that threat detection system to scan for people's moods, for like heavy footsteps, size, the distance. Like, are they pulling away? Are they taking a long time to text back? Our nervous system is all up in that. And so that's what's happening. Like that
I
that is all of this.
it's making me think like nature versus nurture. Like, how are
Yeah.
some kids this way? I had 3 younger sisters who lived in the same environment with the same 2 parents. They could give a shit if anybody was mad at them. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna admit something very embarrassing. This is with the level of shame and like not letting people down. I saw that yesterday was somebody's birthday on Facebook and I missed it and I didn't wish them
Mhm.
a happy birthday. We're not that close, but I'm like,
Yeah.
damn it. Like they're gonna like it wasn't perfect, or I will shame myself for little things like that. I haven't talked to this person in years, but I was like, oh my God, I missed like what that kind of stuff. My 3 younger sisters, again, same parents, same home. Why are our kids just some are more susceptible? Is it birth order? Because I am the
Mhm.
firstborn, or eldest daughter kind of shit? Like, because
Yep.
they don't care and they don't have any of this. It all went to
Yeah.
me.
Yeah. So there are absolutely nature nurture things. So some kids are just going to be more easygoing, right? More sensitive to approval and disapproval. That also tends to be the child that is the most tuned in to the adults and what they want. So those kids are monitoring what their grown-ups need and their
Okay.
grown-ups moods, right? And like, are we good?
I
Okay,
have
are
one of
you
those.
close to me? Are you warm? Right?
Okay. I'm picturing my
So
kids. Okay.
yeah, that's okay. I have one of these too, and we can totally we can we can undo this. We can.
Okay.
It's actually more simple than it sounds. Super complicated, but the good news is it's not. So
Okay.
that pressure to be good does not land the same way for every child. I do think that there is a nervous system element here, And the
Yes.
literature is starting to show this too, that we don't have like a full body of literature to stand behind, but we do have some emerging patterns where, and this is oversimplified, everybody, but like fight, flight, and fawn freeze are four primary nervous system responses, right? We
Yeah.
tend to see fight, flight go together, and we tend to see fawn and freeze go together. Good kids tend to be naturally wired for more of a fawn freeze. Fawn
Yes.
means, you know, people please, basically. Talk them, avoid conflict by like talking and trying to get in their good favor, right? Like, don't
Uh-huh.
eat me. You're good. I can take care of you. See? And freeze is the shutdown and withdrawal. Fight, flight, again, doesn't actually mean like punching people necessarily. It's just the like having at a nervous system level, being able to do something about it. Fight flight is a sympathetic activation. It's either
Mm.
we stand up for ourselves, we say something, right? We come back with something, or we run away, right?
Okay.
Emotionally or actually, right? So what we're starting to see now, and this has been a hypothesis I've had for a long time, and it's very exciting that we're starting to have literature to support this, is that our good kids tend to be wired for fawn freeze. That's just like the way that when their nervous system is presented with stress, that's where
Mhm.
they're going to go. And they're just not wired for the outward fight, right?
No.
The problem child, who is the other end of the spectrum, is more wired for fight flight. So like at a nervous system level, their nervous system when presented with stress is going to just have this natural thing where they you know they have the audacity to push back. These are the kids that like punishments don't work for them. It's because at a nervous system level, they can't just hold their tongue, right? Their
Mm.
nervous system is wired to fight back.
Okay.
And that's actually a good thing. Like zooming out, there are longitudinal studies where they do long term studies with kids. And the kids who have access to outward fight, which I'll explain what that means, but like fighting back to a parent versus the kids who don't, the good kids. When kids go through trauma, the kids who have access to fight and flight fare so much better. Like,
Mm.
because psychologically going through something hard, like abuse, like neglect, like a traumatic experience, when you psychologically are like doing something about it, that changes the way it is experienced in that moment, the way we think about it, the way it's processed and stored in our body, like the
That's what I was
story
gonna
we
say.
wrap around it,
It's
right?
out.
Versus
You're
like
processing it,
freezing,
keeping it in, bringing it
right?
with you every day. They're processing it
Right.
out, and I'm just like
Right,
keeping it in.
exactly.
Okay, that
Yeah,
makes
so we
sense.
want our kids to have fight flight. Like I call bullshit on
Yeah.
modern parenting, basically acting like we have to, and this is inherited from our parents and generations back. That like our job as a parent is just to roll up our sleeves and punish our kids until we broke their spirit and they stop fighting back and they're a good kid. Boop. And I'm a good parent. Boop. Right? Like I call
Yeah.
such bullshit. Like, that's not going to play out the way you think it does. Right? And
Yes.
like good there are this is what's so I'm so glad you asked this question this way because I haven't actually had a chance to say this in any of my interviews. There are kids who I've seen in my counseling and coaching practice who are adults who started out as the bad kid, the problem kid, but they ended up as a good kid. And for years in my good kid videos, I've had bad kids, and you're not bad guys. I'm just for the sake of
Got it.
the quote problem child will be like, that's weird. I wasn't the good kid. I was the bad kid, but you just described me as well. What's this? That's because it's all
Mhm.
the same. This is how shame trauma. This is how
Got
relational
it.
shame trauma, regardless of where we start. But there is interesting literature where at some point, the quote bad kid, if the parent is escalating, right, with shame based discipline, right, and like getting scary mad, and maybe coming in with like the silent treatment, we're withdrawing and withholding, not just
Mhm.
attention, but like love and affection and like a willingness to care for them, right? Um, we do see that the nervous system will shut down fight response with that parent. Like that
Yeah.
moment that that problem child becomes compliant, mayday, mayday, red flags, red flags. Their nervous
Yes.
system has literally said it's not safe to fight back anymore. You need to be good, and it'll
Wow.
push them into fawn. And like parents, it's the thing that I just like want to scream from the mountaintops is like we're like clapping for ourselves because that's how our parents parented us. But like that is not a good thing. We need them to
Okay.
have access to fight response. So what we've got to do is own the hell out of our boundaries, right? We've got to be like stable as hell and steady as hell, which is hard for so many of us because we've been people pleasers. We're fawns, right? And so our
Yes.
kids' anger reminds us of our parents' anger. Our kids being disappointed in us reminds us of our parents. It's like so complicated. I have a whole section in the book about people pleasing and parenting, and let's work through this all together. I got you. But
Yeah.
we need to own the hell out of our no. Our kids need to be able to count on like us being a confident, loving leader. So it's like, I don't stand by what you did. I don't stand by lying. I don't stand by cheating. I don't stand by stealing. I'm not going to stand by that behavior, that thing you did. Right.
Separate it from
But
who
like,
they are.
right. But I'll always stand by you.
Got
It's the
it.
moment where we say, I don't stand by what you did, but you and I are good. Because imagine how that would have felt as a kid. Remember when we
Yeah.
disappointed our parents and the number of counseling clients I've had who can literally walk me through every time they were told, I expected more from you, or I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. Like it is seared in their brain. That moment
Yes.
of like crushing disappointment and like letting people down, like our brain remembers and it wants
Yes.
that to never happen again. And so when we can like learn how, and it's literally like a new way that I've never seen anyone else propose. So it's okay that we didn't know this, but like there is a way to, often requiring like some healing on our part, right? To be able to love our kids through these moments, like the moments we're most likely to come in with like, what is wrong with you? You should be ashamed of yourself. I'm not mad, I'm disappointed. I expected more from you. Making them feel like a failure, that's like straight line to the parts of me that feel the most unlovable
Yes, and
and
it's the
unworthy.
opposite of what you would ever want to do because you know how it feels. So I feel like I need to start my healing. I am not there. I still do everything that you say. That
Yeah,
I,
it's
I do it
okay.
now. I'm not, but I feel like it's not okay if I'm raising kids. Like I need to work on my I don't even know where I want to go with. There's so many. My level of self criticizing. I guess
Yeah.
like talk about. I like how you explain the inner critic and like what its job is and
Mhm.
how it's like a noble. It thinks it's doing a noble thing and like
It does.
how we get it to realize we're okay and we don't need it. It's like IFS.
Yeah.
Like it's like, hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey. And you're like, no, I'm 44 now. I'm not 6. Like, how do we can you talk about what the inner critic is doing and how
Mhm.
we make that bitch realize we are good now?
Mhm. Oh yeah. It's our nervous system and our brain don't really know the difference between thoughts and reality, which is confusing, and it can get us in a lot of distress unnecessarily, but once we understand it, we can use it to heal, right? It's one of those things that kind of sucks until you were like, "Oh, but I can use this." So, I'll tell the bathroom mirror moment because I feel like that's the best example of the inner critic. So my son was born, he's almost 9 now, but he was born very early. I was in the hospital for 6 weeks. Um, he was born 6 weeks early. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. It was real dicey, just trying to like get him to a place where he would, survive and like
Mhm.
thrive. Um, and then I went septic. Anyway, this was like 6 months postpartum. I'd been on like 25 courses of antibiotics in 6 months. Like my body, I should have been like a case study. Um, and I remember one day I was getting out of the shower and I was trying so hard to love that body in the mirror, right? The body that literally grew and birthed two whole human beings. Like, and I'm just feeling ashamed that like I can't love her. I want to so bad. And I just am just disappointed in her. I'm just like, ugh, gross, right?
Mm.
So I had found parts work, I had found IFS, and I was in grad school at the time, finishing up at grad school and seeing clients in my practicum. And I'd had a client be like, but why is the inner critic so mean? And I'm like, I don't know yet. I just know that they are. So I'll let you know
Yes.
when I figure it out. And so this day was the day we learned. So it was the first time I'd ever like had a conversation in my head with my inner critic. Because my inner critic rolls up like 12 alarm fire and it's like, ugh, we got to do something about this, like my body. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh boy, there you are. I'm like, why are you so mean to me? Like, haven't I been through enough? Because my mother was vicious with me about my body, vicious, terrible. And I'm thinking, haven't I been through enough? And my inner critic goes, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really not. Like believe, like cards on the table. I'm really not trying to be mean. It's just that your mother loves you more when you're thin. And so my job is to help you be more lovable. My job is to remember that she loves us more when we're this way, not that way. And so when you're being that way, I've got to bring you back to being this way so that she'll love you. I just remember being like, holy shit, you're right.
What did you say to it to make it
I'm
leave?
like, well, it was like this moment of awe and like, oh
It's
man,
protecting. It's a
you're
protector
not
part.
wrong. She does love me more when I'm thin. And she is
Yeah.
like disgusted by me when I'm not thin. So like, wow. And it just was such a moment for me of like, oh, my inner critic and your inner critic kept this list. I call it the code of how to be valuable with my clients. And so it's like, be thin is like how I am and how I need to be worthy of love and care and like belonging with her. Right. And
Yeah.
if I'm not, I fall out of favor. And so it's like, I've got to be perfect. I've got to be impressive. Like my code of how to be valuable. And if I'm, struggling or I make a mistake or I forget something, the inner critic is like, according to Article 4, Section 42, we're not allowed to do that. Make it better, make it right, do something, right? And so I was talking earlier about outward fight. We have fight response, we just turn it inward. Like that viciousness with yourself, that's fight response, but it goes inward, right? We suppress it on the outside, we have a smile, but inside, that viciousness, that moment with my prosecutor colleague, that was my fight response. Like our fight
Mm.
response doesn't go out, it goes in and it keeps us in check. It tames us.
Mm,
Right. And so
that
one
makes
of the
sense.
things that I try to teach in the book is we've got to turn that fight response out. And again, it doesn't mean fighting people on the streets. It just means that like we turn our attunement instead of just being so obsessed with like, oh my God, are we good? Are we good? Are they gonna be mad? Are they gonna be disappointed? We have to be it's like turning that back out. Right. I have 5 adjustments in the book.
Yes.
And one of them is shift your focus, right? Because we are so there's like some focus that needs to come back in. Like instead of monitoring everybody's moods and like making sure they're okay, I want us to turn some of that attunement back inside. Like, are you okay with this? Because like the number of times my therapist over the years, and she's been my therapist for over a decade, I'd be like, oh my God, they're gonna be so mad. And she's like, how do you feel about this? And I'm like, excuse me?
I didn't even consider that.
I
Me?
didn't. Like, what do you mean? How do I
I
feel? And I'm like, all
know.
right, let's try this on for a minute. And I'm like, wait, what they're doing is kind of fucked up. And she's like, uh-huh. And I'm like, here I am completely focused on them, making them happy. It didn't even occur to me to consider they've kind of been shitty to me. Wait,
Yes.
right? So
Do you know?
that needs to come back in, right? And then some of the fight response, it's like instead of being punishing and vicious to ourselves automatically, it's like, hey, hang on a second. I don't know if that feels good for me. Right? Like I don't know if I
Yes.
want Chinese tonight. And like not having to recover for 3 days because we actually said what we need.
You're making me think, and when it's like, what do I need or what do I think? My critic is this: we need external validation of how many things we're doing. And you
Yes.
kept saying a word was like my accomplishments. If I have
Mhm.
a great show and I know it was a great show, that is not enough. It's like, but did
Yep.
people see that I interviewed Michelle from Destiny's
Right.
Child? I know it was great, but I need no, you'll be valuable if people say good job. And it doesn't matter how many downloads it gets. It's like, but did people
Mhm.
see it? Because then
Mhm.
you'll be important. And I've always assumed, and you can assess this, that because soccer was my whole life and I was like state champion back to back years in high school, I never came off the field. I was a captain. I go to play Division 1 college soccer. Tell everybody I'm going there for soccer. It was soccer, soccer, soccer. I'm super driven. My career didn't work out and I quit. And that is when bulimia, depression, it was like, if you're not good at soccer, why are you even at this school? That was your value. Now you don't have it. So now it's like my inner critic is like, this inner critic is like, this show has to be the biggest thing ever because then you'll be valuable again because soccer didn't work out, but this has to. And it's this
Yep.
drive that's like, even though I feel I love what I'm doing and I'm so proud of my show, it's this like, but did people see
Mhm.
this? And it's this driving because then you will have value again. Like, does
Right.
that make sense?
That's exactly it, literally. Well, and to take it one step further, like, and IFS and parts work is everything. Like, it is how we make sense of the world. Period. The end. Parts will never get enough. Like, those are parts talking, right? And parts are insatiable. They're also often very young. So, like,
Yes.
depending on, again, the those of us that are on a more debilitated end of this, had the, temperament. We also had the impossible expectations, that like
Yes.
we're capable of perfection. So therefore we
Moving the
should meet it all
goalposts,
the time.
so you're always getting yes.
Totally. But we also had a parent who was unstable and unpredictable. So sometimes it's substance use and abuse, which presents shockingly similarly to a parent with unhealed trauma that presents as a personality disorder. And there's
I hear you.
actually, I cited it in the book, there's research showing this, that they present so similarly. And
Okay.
so part of this, when we have that crippling, like I am a failure unless people see me as good and good enough, is generally like the straight line we can draw is that we had a parent and we kind of didn't know where we stood sometimes, right? Sometimes they were warm and like willing to take care of us and saw us and like, yep. And then other times without explanation. And again, it can be because of substances, right? And being intoxicated or being seeking substances, right? That it can make it so that they can't focus on us and they just are kind of like, yeah, just leave me alone. Or in my case, my mom's unhealed trauma presented as two personality disorders. And so I would be in the doghouse and she was furious with me and I would be like, what the hell happened? But, and then I'm
Yeah.
like trying to find the needle in the haystack for like, what did I do? How did I cause this?
Yeah.
And so it's like, I couldn't count on being in her good favor. Even a perfect life and never messing up wasn't enough. Like, does that make sense? Like, even
Yes.
though I was a three-sport athlete, high achieving
Yes.
academically, even that wasn't enough to make her love me all the time. I would just inexplicably, she would just be giving the silent treatment and be mad at me. And I'm like,
You'd internalize it's something you're doing or you're not doing
right,
enough. You made
right.
me
And
think when
so,
you were just explaining that, if I scored a goal, soccer, it was
mhm,
like that parent thought I was amazing. And I
yeah,
do think about it in parenting, like if my son does get a big hit,
yeah,
I won't get too excited about it. Or I'll be like, I saw you listening when they said baseball ready. You
yes,
were looking at the coach and he's like, oh,
yeah,
I am jumping out of my seat when he has a big
yeah,
hit, but I don't make it
yeah.
like I'm excited because you hit, because the next time he's going to strike out and be like, I suck.
Well, and that's a huge thing too. Like, we had to do it perfectly, right? And it didn't matter if we tried. If we tried and got second place, that may as well have been last place, is kind of the world a lot of us were raised in, right? And so, exactly what you're doing, praising the process, not just
Yeah.
the outcome, right?
Yes.
Because we still have something to be proud of, like being brave. Even if it all goes to shit, we still get to be proud of the fact that we tried. And we just weren't raised in that world. We were raised in a
No.
world where do it perfectly or don't do it at all and look like it's not even a struggle while you're doing it. Like, look good doing it too, right? Like, look
Yes.
like you're not even under any pressure. And so these parts are so young. Like, I mean, my parts are like generally under 5. Like, these parts
Whoa.
of me are thinking like a 5-year-old. Like, they had to become dominant in my psyche when I was very, very young. And so they cannot critically think. They cannot think and zoom out to the big picture. They have really struggled to see nuance because those are, cognitive capabilities that come online later. And so these parts of you are thinking, like, imagine you were trying to make sense of things through your child's eyes, like how hard it would be for them to see things. Like, that's what's happening. The parts, they literally, they assume we're in danger. They
Yes.
assume that we
And they're
need their
helping.
protection,
Right.
and they also will avoid evidence that doesn't support. They have the confirmation bias, right? So like
Okay. Yeah.
they
Yeah.
are convinced that you're failing unless proven otherwise. That's parts talking. It's black and white, it's all or nothing. Part. That's how we know it's a part.
I have heard so much about parts work, and I'm surprised to hear you say that yours are still around because I always thought
Hmm.
once you acknowledge them and tell them
Oh
you
no.
got it now. Someone hypnotized me and told me to talk to 2-year-old Erin and tell her I'm 44 and I've got this. And I know I see you and like validate that they are doing good work. And I know you're trying to protect me, but you can go to release her. Well, that's an
We
hour of my
can
life I'll never get back.
I mean, it doesn't mean that it didn't do something important, right? But like there is a process in our nervous system called generalization, right? And it's the integration piece where it'll go back and reprocess other parts and memories with the new input. But like I regularly encounter parts that think I'm a little girl, and I've been in trauma therapy since 2007. Okay.
Okay.
Like
All
parts
right.
work since like for like about 10 years. So like no, that is categorically incorrect in my opinion.
Ooh.
Whoever told you that, I completely disagree. Like, and really, it's like a seesaw. where like, if I want to be this upset, if this thing happened and I'm like, it makes sense that I'm disappointed, but why am I up here? You know,
Yes.
it's because I have this much stuff that I've pushed down and haven't worked through. Right. And so as I
Okay.
heal the shame and unburden it, then it's like, right now, when I started, it was like all the way up here. And so
It's
I had these
dysregulated.
big
This is
overreactions.
regulated. So it's all
Right.
coming back to like regulating your system and making it
Right.
balance
Yes.
out. And I don't
Right.
have that. I'm looking at the time. I also have a really bad when people are mad, like if I feel like I did something wrong or someone
Mhm.
tells me that I did something wrong
Oh
as
yeah.
a 44-year-old adult. The principal the other day,
Oh my
I
God.
was waiting for the crossing guard to like say to go. And then when she said go, I kissed my kids and I let them go. And as I'm turning around, she yells, "Mom, walk them across next time. That is so dangerous. You need to walk them across." And I was like, "Oh, I thought she was saying like go." Maggie, I turned around and cried. But I was like,
Hmm.
she yelled at me. And then not even just like I felt like I was in the wrong and it made me feel like a bad mom and shame. But the
Yeah.
next time, the same, like the crossing guard, there was someone in front of me and he was stopping this line to let the other line go. So he turns around and says, "Stop" to us. Person in front of me goes. He turns around, looks at me and goes, "I said stop." Maggie, I rolled down the window and I said, "I didn't go. I didn't do it." The person in front of me went. And I'm driving past, like my kids are probably like, "What the hell was that?" I had to, anybody else would be like, I had to roll down my window and be like, "I wasn't
Mhm.
wrong. I didn't do anything bad." That is the level of good girl stuff that I still live with.
Oh
These are
yeah.
current examples in my life that my kids
Oh
are
yeah.
watching. I couldn't let it
Oh,
go because he said I did something
100%.
wrong and I was bad.
Yep.
I can't.
100%.
I
Well,
couldn't
and
let it go.
again, this is the relational shame trauma, right? Like when our parents there are these misguided expectations that our parents brought into parenting us that were passed down generation after generation, and they're crazy. It's like, yeah, a child who's mid meltdown should just be able to turn off like a light switch. In fact, a child should never misbehave. Like that's basically just any we should be able to teach them how to control themselves. Good luck with that because we got to accelerate brain development somehow. And yeah, they should just never misbehave at all, actually. I'm sorry, what? Like we have a developing human with unreliable impulse control who's experiencing extremely overwhelming emotions. Like and kids act out their stress. So go ahead and explain for me how it's realistic in any way to expect the kids would never misbehave. That's insane, right?
Yeah,
But our parents believe that. Like that's what they were made to believe about themselves. Nobody
because that's how they
corrected
were
it.
parented. Got it.
I mean, grandparents, parents. And so when we would misbehave or have a human moment, God forbid, and they came down with that, like, oh my God, you're being so dramatic. Pull yourself together. Again, what is wrong with you? I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. I expect more from you. We don't learn, don't do that. We learn there's something wrong with the version of us that did that. Does that make sense? It's about being
Yes.
seen in a bad way,
How could you
right?
say
Like
it to
like
make them not feel like what's a way to say
I
it?
got you. I got
Okay.
you. Let me finish my sentence
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
feel like this part's important.
Please.
Like when our parents came in with that, like, basically acting like we failed them, right? Like you failed me. I'm so
Mhm.
disappointed. I can't believe this. I can't even look at you. All those lovely phrases. It was like we felt seen. Like this is who you really are deep down inside, and this version of you is unacceptable. And I better never see this side of you again. That's like the sharpest, worst edge of this. Right.
Yeah.
And so, of course, parts of you have to prove, you have to prove, I didn't do anything wrong. Like, that is not you being emotionally, like, I don't know, like dysfunctional. That's parts of you that were made to believe that a version of you that messed up was unacceptable and nobody ever see that side of you. Like, of course, you panic when that moment happens.
Yeah.
Literally, of course.
I don't want to
Um,
do that anymore. I want
I
that to
know.
go away.
Well, and my book, I think I really did try to write my book as like a handbook to help you heal. Like part one is how good kids happen. And if you were the good kid, you're gonna feel like I just walked through your whole life. And then part two is the shame part, because we do have to heal the shame. Like the shame is gonna keep our nervous system dysregulated. It's gonna keep us in our parts. We're just not, we have a highest self that in IFS they call self. And self knows you're good enough. Self doesn't give a fuck what they think. But if we're hijacked by the parts, it's like the parts are driving and self is in the back. Right. And so
Okay.
we've got to learn how to do what's called unblending from the parts. We can totally get where like we're literally seeing the world through that part. that part that believes it's literally dangerous to upset people. That's why you have that reaction. Like, you make sense. This makes sense.
Can you
In
make
the
something
book,
make sense real quick?
yeah,
I have never had the confidence that I have now, finally, I will say right around 40.
yeah.
I
40 is
love who I am.
magical.
It is. I love who I am. I'm no longer projecting what I thought my ex wanted, trying to like I wouldn't switch places with anyone else. I can say that
Hmm.
now for the first time ever. So
I
why
love
do I
that.
still have the I feel that way. Why do I still have that I need other people to say, "Yep." Like the external validation piece when I don't feel bad. I feel why do I need other people to like co-sign that still? If I
Again, it's you have relational shame trauma that just needs to be resolved. Right. And
okay.
I can walk you through this at some point if you want me to, but like when we have more time, because I know we don't have a lot of
You
time
should
left.
come
But
back and do a relational shame trauma exercise that other people could
let's
listen
go.
to.
Count me
Yes,
in.
because
What is it? I'll
I
come
feel like
back.
everything I say is
Yeah.
back to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do
Well, and
not want my
again,
kids to
you
live
as
that
a
way.
child were made to feel like this is who you really are, and I better never see that side of you. Like, we have to get back for that. Okay. In a nutshell, like in like the shortest version of this, the way that we access self, the way that when we have a part that's being vicious and mean to us like that, like, yeah, but nobody else. Um, we just get curious. Like, first step to start the unblending is just to say, I have a part of me that feels like we're failing because nobody has said we did a good job. Just like that is the beginning. Like, I get goosebumps every time I say it. I have a
Like
part of
seeing
me
it.
that feels like, well, and you might feel
I
it in your
s-
body. Like, sometimes my chest tends to get really tight. It's like I have like a stomach chest issue. And so you might put your hand on it. If you can go skin on skin, that's the best because it actually like our body feels that at a whole different level, and just say, oh, a part of me. And then curiosity is the key that opens the door, where we're just like, huh, I wonder why you're so afraid. Like, I wonder why you feel like this is a failure. And the question that they ask in IFS in parts work is, what are you afraid would happen if you didn't say this to me, or if you didn't make me feel like a failure? And that part it's ready. It's like, oh, you ready? Grab a pen. Let's go. One time in sixth grade, you did this, and then this happened, and they said they expected more from you, and we felt terrible, and they gave us the like, literally, it remembers. Our body remembers. Like, you can't forget this kind of stuff. I mean, literally being made to feel like you are a failure, and like the people who love you and care about you have seen a side of you that's unlovable. Like, of course you still struggle with this. It would be weird if you didn't, babe. Literally.
okay. Oh,
In the book, I've never written a book before, right? And this one, I'm like, I know this. Anyways, I didn't like, they came to me, I had publishers approach me on this. I know, which
amazing.
is, I'm so grateful. But a lot of people, when they get to this point, have like pretty much figured out what the book is going to be. And like, it was not that for me. So as I'm writing it, I'm like, I feel like we need pillars or like principles, or like, what is that? And it just kind of one day like emerged. There it was. And it was full and comprehensive and not missing anything. So I have what's called the 5 adjustments in the book. And there is a parenting side to this if we're parenting children, and there's a reparenting side. And it's always two sides of the same coin, right?
Yes.
So running through them really quickly, because this is important. The first one is critical to curious, right? We're going to have this instant critical of ourselves and critical of our kids. And like, everything changes when we notice that. And we're like, oh, there we are. Because our automatic reaction is always our conditioning. It's what we've been told to think, made to think, that what we've watched other people. And it's like our instant reaction is going to be what we've learned, what we've observed, what we've been conditioned to believe and do. So we don't judge it. Of course, I think that. My mom was hella critical. Of course, I'm critical. There's nothing wrong with me. And I watched her be critical of herself too, right? So critical to curious.
Yeah.
We just notice the critical and we're like, let's shift. And I cannot say enough about how that feels on our kids' end. Like, the number of kids I've worked with, when their parents start shifting into curiosity, like, I get goosebumps thinking about it. Like, of course, in their kid way of explaining it, they're like, she just cares. Like, it's like she understands that I didn't mean to do it. And like, curiosity is the key. Okay.
I
Just
wrote down, how does that
period.
feel inside for you? Was a
Yeah. Oh
question to
yeah.
ask them to be curious. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so ask
I
it not just
discovered
mean like,
that.
"What are you doing?" How does that feel
Right.
inside for you? It's like, "Oh,
Right.
she's asking about it." Okay.
Yes. Well, and when I worked with kids who had extreme defiance in my early
Mm,
days of my counseling practice, kind of discovered that one accidentally, where I'd be like, but I'm curious how it feels inside. And I would just watch the look on their face like, wait, you know? You know that I wish I could do it and I can't? You know? It's like it opens them. We've got to like be responsible with that phrase, right? We've got to, if we're gonna say like it's safe to tell me, then we have to be safe to be told things, right? So we have to like be
Yes.
responsible with that phrase. But
Okay.
um so we want to
That was the first one.
let them resist. I don't have it in front
To
of me, so I'm doing it from
release
memory,
to
but let them
regulate.
resist. Yes. The kids resist to release to regulate. When they are, not willing to put their pajamas on, or, when we say no, they cannot be on their iPad or whatever, and they lose their shit, it's because they're dysregulated and they need a release. Like, period,
Oh,
the end. Kids do not say, I'm overwhelmed right now. They roll their eyes and slam doors. Like, that is the resistance, and the resistance is a sign that they're overwhelmed. And if we can hold our no and give them something to resist, a no, a boundary, a limit, and let them resist without thinking they're bad, right? Parts of us are going to show up and be like, oh my God, shut it down. It's not safe. My God, can you imagine how mad your mom, your dad would have been if you'd act like we can't, shut it down, right? If we can
wait.
allow them to just have that moment, they'll resist and release and regulate back down, and they'll come back to you and they'll be like, why was I so mean to you? Why did I hit you? They don't
Yeah,
know.
they want it. They're like, wasn't it your daughter that was like, "Are you gonna make me get down?" Like she was like, "Give me a boundary so I can." And
Yes.
then she had the meltdown. And I
Then she
remember
lost her
now,
shit.
last time you were here, I was like, I cannot drop off this bomb at school. Like my
Hmm.
daughter she is diagnosed with ODD now. So
Yeah.
she wasn't last time we talked, and it's only
Yeah.
at me. I'm the target. But she would be like the things she was saying at me in the car. And in my mind, I'm like, I cannot drop her off like this. If I
Yeah.
check her or give her a boundary, she's going to be crying, and I'm
Yeah.
sending this really upset child. And you said if you don't let her resist something and
Hmm.
let her have that release, that bomb is going to be released at school. You're dropping off
That's right.
somebody who is not. And that
Oh
for
yeah.
me, I was like, oh my God. Yeah. I was like trying to
Hmm.
not, she wanted the release, and I wasn't
Hmm.
giving her something to resist, thinking that that was the better way to drop her off at school. So
Yeah.
having her have the meltdown in the car and then dropping off a regulated
Mm.
child, I got that from you, was a better
Mm.
option. But I'm
I
thinking like I
remember
can't have a
that
crying
conversation.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's
Well,
like
we think
once
we're
it
taking care of them, right? Like
yes,
it's just a
yes.
complete misunderstanding of physiology and stress and like nervous. It's just everything that we were taught as children is essentially wrong. Is when it comes to feelings and stress.
Huh,
So like it's okay. We of course we think that. That's what our parents thought.
okay.
They were like, I remember my daughter um fell and like legit was like bleeding, and family members were visiting and they were like waving a cookie like, here, stop crying, here. And like it's from a loving place though, like truly,
Uh-huh.
right? It's not like we don't understand the impact, but like making her feel like she's not allowed to cry even when she's hurt enough to be bleeding, like the way
Yes.
it lands is not the way we think, right? I don't have time to
Mm-mm.
go through all five, but the last adjustment, that's
Please.
maybe most important, and when it comes to like what do you say instead, is
Yes.
stand by them. We already talked about this a little bit. I don't stand by what you did, but I will always stand by you. Right? I'm going to hold you accountable, right? It's not okay. Like let's say our kid lies and gets caught in a lie at school, right? Or like the most recent example, one of my son like threw a pencil out of anger at another child. And it could have been, right, pencils are sharp, could have been bad. This was like last year or the year before. And this teacher we've had for before, and so, she's wonderful. And she was like, this happened, and she was kind of disappointing, shamey at him at school. So he came home just like spiraling in shame. Like, what is wrong with me? And it's like, buddy, you're 7. Like your body is just now kind of getting impulse control. So when you get overwhelmed with big feelings, like sometimes you're not going to be able to, sometimes you're going to grab the pencil and you're going to know you shouldn't throw it and you're going to throw it anyway. Like that, like you're a kid. I'm not saying I want you to throw pencils when you're mad,
Right.
but all kids throw pencils when they're mad. I threw pencils when I was mad. Actually, I
Right.
didn't. And like, I couldn't throw pencils when I was mad. And that is part of the problem. And I'm still healing from that. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like,
You should have
right?
thrown a pencil when you were mad.
I
If
needed to
only
throw
we had thrown
pencils and I
pencils.
couldn't. Right.
Yes.
And so it's like, I don't stand by you hurting people when you're mad. Right. You're
Okay.
allowed to be mad. You're not allowed to hurt other people but there's nothing wrong with you that in this moment you got overwhelmed and you're right. Like, again, I don't stand by throwing pencils at people when you're mad. but you and I are good. I'm not disappointed in you. And I've had to do a lot of work because I was like a little adult child and like was expected to be an adult. And so my therapist over the years has checked me. So it was my best friend. They're like, we're expecting a whole lot of a child that age. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, you're expecting too much. Like, we need to, and there's the Center for Parenting Education, everybody. If you search Center for Parenting Education, child development by age, I don't have like the link handy, but like they literally go age by age for like what is normal to expect of a child this age. And like I have like hugged that throughout my parenting career
Yeah.
and with like counseling clients, because like my warped sense of like what's reasonable and realistic and appropriate and fair to expect of a child is so fucked up based on what was expected of me. I've had to like learn it, right? They're like,
Totally.
okay, impulse control doesn't even come online until 7-ish, like best case. But like then their blood sugar is on a roller coaster. It's going to undermine their ability to control themselves. They,
Yes.
physical exhaustion, emotional exhaustion, hormones. Like we expect them to have better impulse control than we have. Our parents did that too. And like actually they're gonna have like if every child does this, hits, bites, slams doors, like we're not I just don't think it's fair to make our children like hold this lifelong belief at the deepest part of their psyche that there's something wrong with them because they're doing
Yes.
things that every child does. Like, I think we need to be the
Totally.
parents to call bullshit and be like, no, it's okay that this happened. You're going to have to show up and make this right. You're going to need to write a letter to that child. You're going to need to say you're sorry. You're going to need to own your impact. But you and I are going to do it together. Like, I'll be next to you. I'm not doing it for you.
Yes. I love
Right?
that.
I'm going to hold
Yes.
you accountable. There are consequences when things like this happen, but like inside the relationship with me, I'm not going to go away. I'm not going to make you feel like I don't love you right now. And I'm not disappointed in you, right?
Yes.
Disappointment comes from expectations. And when we can change our expectations and understand what is realistic to expect of a child at this age and developmental stage, right? Which has been, again, like learning a whole new language for me.
Man, me.
I, right. When I can be like, okay, they're dysregulated. I'm seeing it. So we're probably headed towards a meltdown. Right? Like parents will
Okay.
be like, I try so hard to have a good day and like I try to do everything so they don't need to melt down. So then your expectation is that I can somehow prevent this meltdown. So then when they melt down, you're disappointed. It's like
Yes.
I
It's
need
all
you
back to your
to
expectation.
it's all about expectations. Like if somebody came to my house and they were like, I'm disappointed that your house is not perfect. I'd be like, well, that's on you because I never promised a perfect
I would
house.
start
Like
crying and be like, "But I just had a podcast. I just got moving."
but like
Damn it.
they expected you to have a perfect house. Like that's
Yeah.
on you. I didn't co-sign on that expectation. Like I'm in the middle of parenting, I work. Like my house is not spick and span. Like it's never going to be. So like I'm not disappointed in myself even. My expectations are that we have like lines in the sand and like okay, we got to pull the counter back or like right? But like
Yes.
expectations are the thing that create disappointment. And so when we can change our expectations and be like, okay, wait, it's actually so normal for my child to react this exact way. And it should have been allowed for me to act this way. And I couldn't because I was scared to about what would
Yes.
happen, that I would lose my parents. So, right?
Totally. I wanna ask you one more thing because I know you
Yeah.
specialize with ODD, oppositional defiance. For anybody that's not familiar, my daughter has the actual diagnosis now, and you're making me think about my expectation. When she is at a 10, which is a lot, honestly, I will sometimes expect her to not be, like, when
Hmm.
she gets off the bus. I'm like, "We're gonna have a." I will sit there and, like, hype myself up, "We're gonna have the best day, I'm gonna be so calm," and she comes off the bus and just looks at me, and I'm like, "What did I couldn't have done it, I didn't even say words yet,"
Yeah.
and I'm the target, so it's always at me, and my ex will be like, "She's fine, she doesn't do." So I will maybe not be right, maybe my expectation that nothing has happened yet, so she should be fine, expectation when she gets off the bus,
Ding,
so
ding,
that
ding.
I'm like, "What did I even do? Are you good? Don't." She'll be like, "Don't talk to me. Don't touch me." And I'm like, "But I didn't like when she wakes up in the morning." And I'm like, "Nothing has happened yet." So my expectation that we should be fine is probably what's setting up
Mhm.
the problem there. Just expect that she may be
Yeah.
coming at me hot first thing in the morning because maybe she didn't get enough sleep or something
Yep.
happened on the bus. But I'm always like, how is she mad? Like I couldn't have messed up.
Hmm.
You've been to school all day. You haven't even talked to me. But I'm her target for her frustration of whatever
Yeah.
happened. And me expecting it to be any other way is just always going to lead to me being disappointed.
Right. Well, and like her nervous system is probably wired for fight. So like the fact that
Yes,
she's fighting
ma'am.
back is not like a person. And we take
Only
shit
me.
personally, right? Like
But
my
it
mom
is
took
only me.
everything personally, but it's not. But I know, but it's not personal in the sense that you messed up and caused
I'm her
this.
safe space, and she
You
feels
are.
comfortable to do it to me 'cause she knows I love her no matter what, which I
And
that
you are
makes me feel
breaking the
good,
good
but
kid cycle with that. It sucks though. Let's just be real. It's not fun. Like I
no.
don't in some ways I do love these moments because I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I get to let them just fall apart and be like the quote worst version of themselves and they can count on the fact that I will be safe and love them through it and like love that for them,
Yes.
but like don't love that for me." Like it's a lot.
No,
It's a whole
sometimes I
fucking
don't
lot,
have
you
anything
know?
left, and people will be like, "What? She's the sweet." I've never seen her be defiant. Who
Well, and
I
that's
asked,
why.
it's
Like, she
only
is holding it together all
yes, and
day.
she
When
has
she gets
nothing
you,
left.
she's at, like, a 9.2. It takes nothing.
Always,
And,
always.
like, when she's, like, right away, like, "Don't look at me," I would and
Yes.
I talk about circle backs in the book. I didn't know if I
Yeah.
was gonna publish this, but I did, so here we are.
I
I've
wait,
called
what'd you call it?
I called
Colostrum.
it relational colostrum
Yeah, I'm
because
reading the
they
book, Maggie.
are.
Yes.
You're far into the
We're
book
the
if you're to that part. Yes.
I'm the relational
So
colostrum that she needs.
yes, and the circle
Great.
backs and the repair are, right? So in the moment when our kid is there or we're there, we think that's the moment to try to like resolve this, get them to see. Nope,
I just
this is
run
the
away.
moment to survive it. No, but it's like we try not to lose our shit and like we do our best, right? This is what my best looks like and my best is good enough. Some days my best is impressive. Okay, other days my best is not. And like my job and like in terms of what is our hope and expectation for today, my hope is like when I pick up my kids 2 days a week and we have a nanny who picks them up 3 days a week. So on my days, I'm like, it's not, I mean, it would be great if we had a lovely day. My hope is that we all do our best, whatever that looks like. Because when my
Okay.
kids are being assholes, that is their best.
Okay.
That's what their best looks like right now. Right? And when
Okay.
I'm an asshole, that's my best. Like it doesn't mean that I that's what I want for us, but like when we're dysregulated and parts take over and they're mean, that is what our best looks like. And
Do you
our
know that
best needs to be good enough, right?
someone told me to turn up the radio, and this was a guy that specialized in, ADHD, and they have a negative seeking brain, and they want you to fight. He's like, "You turn up the music, you get put her in the car." She says, "Don't look at me, don't talk to me." You just turn on the music, and you drive, and you say nothing, and I was like, "That feels wrong, that feels mean." But he's like,
I
"Do
don't know
not
that I
engage."
would.
She wants you to engage, she wants you to fight. Your response and a negative feedback is like crack to her, almost like
Mm,
she wants that me to be like, "You will not talk to me that way." And she's like, "Yeah, I got her." And if you don't,
mm.
and you just listen to the music, she'll snap out of it, was his thinking there.
I mean, I hear where he's going. I think loud music on an overstimulated child is maybe
I
not
guess
a great
not. Maybe he
idea,
didn't say loud. He said, "Turn up the
but
music, like, don't
yes, act
engage."
unbothered. Yes. Act
Yes.
unbothered. Yes. That
Just
I stand by. And I think again, like the magic here is not we're not going to move the needle when everybody is blowing the fuck up at each other. That's just let's take that right off. Like
it's the
it is
calm back, the
later.
coming back
It
and the
is the
repair.
circling back later
Okay.
when things are
Okay.
calm. And so like if my daughter said to me, right, like don't talk right away. I haven't said a thing. Don't talk to
Yes.
me like, she's probably picking up on the fact that it rattles you. And, like, I talk about the boundaries bridge, right? This, like, bridge that and Janet Gonzalez Mina present to the boundaries bridge idea, and then I've kind of taken it further. But, like, our kids are walking on a bridge, wood planks, let's say. The boundaries are our boundaries are the guardrails, right? And we're the planks, right? And so if we were walking on a bridge together, Erin, and, like, one of the planks, like, suddenly gave in, your brain would be like, oh my God, survival, shit, threat detection. And so then it would test the next plank in that same spot. Are you solid? How about, and it
Oh,
would need to keep testing, right? And so when our kids say something that rattles us, right, that we take personally, we get bajiggity, it's like they're going to have to test us again. That's not them being cruel. They don't enjoy this. A lot of ODD kids are made to feel like you enjoy this. You like me. No, it's that she can tell it makes her feel too powerful. It makes her feel like, wow, I can take you down with just like a look.
she
I
can.
can make you
She's
go from
right.
powerful to not in one look. And that feels scary for her. It's just like my daughter up on the table. Are
Okay.
you going to be a confident leader for me? Are you the grown up or do I have to be the grown up? Like that's what that moment is.
So if she would say, for example, "You're disgusting, don't touch me, don't touch my plate," and it does hurt me, And I just
But
am
you're
like,
allowed to be hurt
okay.
by it. But like, I need you to go and scream into a pillow or punch the shit out of the pillows, right? Like, there's frustration there that
But
makes
I
sense.
can't
And I
in the
need
moment
you.
because we're getting ready for school. I don't have
I
time. Like, I
know.
can't break. And it's
I know.
always in the morning and I'm doing her hair. And this is the stupidest ponytail I've ever seen, maybe we'll say was said once. I'm going to
Yeah.
take it out right when I go to school. And I've just spent 15 minutes getting the she has curly hair. It's very challenging. And I
Yeah.
get a ponytail and it's the worst ponytail she's ever seen. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't have time to like, we have to go. I feel like we're
Yeah.
always like, we gotta go, we gotta go. And I'm like, don't respond. She wants you to engage is what is my inner monologue.
Yeah.
And
You're
screaming a
people
pillow
pleasing a
later.
little bit with her though. And in the
Yes.
book, like I go through like wanting to be the fun parent and not wanting to like all the ways people pleasing. Like I thought it was gonna be like one piece and it's like 15 pages in the book. Like it was so much bigger than I thought it was gonna be. And I
Yeah.
started really like writing about all the ways people pleasing shows up. So I worked really hard on that. So go read that. But like in a circle back, I would say, hey, when you say those things to me, I'm just curious, like, how does it feel for you? You can tell it hurts my feelings. Does that feel scary for you?
Wow.
Right?
Okay.
Like just coming in with this, like, I want to understand better where you're coming from. Like,
Okay.
if my daughter said, "You're disgusting, don't touch me," I'd be
Mhm.
like, that's rude. But I
You'd
wouldn't
say,
like, that's rude. Don't hurt my like the parts of
I
me
say
inside would
nothing.
want to be like, stop being so mean to me. But like I would say something. Like I think
Okay.
that going unchecked is not like, and
That's
I
what
don't want to
I
like,
thought. But he was like, that's what she wants. He said for
no.
a
He's being
neurotypical
very
child,
black and white. He's
he
being
said
very black and white.
neurodivergence and ADHD is a negative seeking brain, and she wants me to get mad. So
I think
don't
that's way
react.
too black and white. I think there's shades of gray here that are being ignored.
Okay.
So, but again, the magic of like resolving this relational pattern is not going to happen in the moment when everybody's upset. It's not like
Exactly.
it can't, it has to happen later. And so,
Okay.
a circle back later that, like, hey, I'm not going to let you talk to me like that anymore. Like, you're allowed to come out of school and be in a bad mood. You don't have to be like happy to see me openly. I love that you can just be real. That's what I want. But you're allowed to be mad, but I'm not going to let you be mean to me like that. Like, this stops now. And again, not in a place of like, I'm going to quash this and like get ready, but like just more like being in a relationship with her that like, hey, can you imagine if a friend of yours saw you and that's
Yes.
the first words that came out? Like, I can't let you think that it's okay to talk to people like that. Right? Like, I'm not going anywhere, but a friend is going to drop you and like never look back.
She would never
Right?
say it to them. She only does it to me. But
I
that's a great
know,
way
but
of
like,
if she was on the other end of it, like getting her to realize how do you think that would feel?
right, right.
Okay.
And again, neurotypical versus neurodivergent is very important, right? Her impulse control is impacted. And so in the moment she's, the whole make good choices, like she's not choosing this, right?
No.
To some of this is you being a wobbly plank that she can tell that upsets you, right?
Yes.
And
I
she's just got
own
to
that.
keep testing the plank until you can be solid. And so some of this is going inside and like, why does this bother me so much? Who else has treated me like this? What pain am I holding in my body that's getting touched off? My body recognizes this pattern and is like, oh, this hurts. I don't like this. Right. And working
Okay.
like again, the seesaw of like, if we can unload the pain that we're carrying, then we have more of the reaction level that we want instead of what we might call an overreaction. It's not an overreaction based on what you've been through. Right. And so if you were my client, I'd be like, let's explore this. What comes up when she says that? How do you feel? What do the parts say? Right. What's the pain that we're trying to get to? What is the shame? And like, it's not going to be resolved overnight, but like, when my daughter was in like kindergarten, there was an older kid at their school in aftercare who was, I guess, making statements about people being fat. And she called me fat. And my mother, again, was vicious and awful with me about being fat. So it like I would get a migraine and end up in bed for the rest of the day. Like it's the way the trauma hits so fast for me. And so she said it probably 4 or 5 times over a period of 6 weeks. And I tried I mean, this was again in like 2017. So like I didn't have, all the knowledge and insight that I have now. But
Sure.
eventually what resolved that was me taking it to therapy, crying the tears, getting pissed about the way I was treated as a little girl. right? The way I was made to feel like not thin version of me was not lovable and was disgusting, right? Because that's
Mm,
the pain she was hitting. She was hitting that pain,
sure.
and my body was lighting up like your Christmas tree about it. And so I had to get kind of mad and like be like, "What the fuck? Like
And feel it. Like
that's
you
not
didn't really sit
okay."
in the feeling. Like you had to
Right.
feel the feeling like we were talking about, process it out of
Right.
you, and then it wouldn't
Yes.
keep getting hit. Like it wouldn't keep
Exactly.
getting like a
Right.
ding.
Right.
And I know where
Right.
it's coming from, why I feel that way. So that is even a
Right.
step, just doing that right now. Like
Right.
when she says things like that, I know what it's hitting.
There you
So,
go. So I
and
need
that's for
you,
me
and it
to,
doesn't have to be in that moment. Later that day, again, our
sure.
brain doesn't know the difference between thoughts and reality. And so when I was trying to learn how to be calm when my daughter was mad, which just hit
Yeah,
all of my trauma around an unstable parent who's mad and, scary mad,
sure.
I would visualize myself being calm. I would like feel it in my body as if she is starting to get, angry. I can feel the stress rising. I can feel everything. And then I'm like, nope, we're going to be calm. And I'm going to imagine and like viscerally imagine me staying calm. And that's how you can literally build neural pathways in your brain, in your imagination, that are going
Okay.
to be there for you in the future in real life. Like you can
Okay.
use your imagination to heal. And I would recommend that, like imagining, letting the stuff rise that's coming up, and then like getting the anger out, punching the shit out of pillows, screaming into a pillow, saying all the words. A lot of times I have words and they are kind of gnarly, but like we're not going to judge them. I pushed them down 20
Yeah.
years ago, 30 years ago. They've been like sitting in there festering. Like of course it's right, kind of gnarly. We're
Okay.
not going to judge. We're going to let the words come out. I'm going to honor that past version of me and just, girl, here's the mic. Say what you need to say. Nobody here is judging. Just rub her back.
Yes.
Get it out.
Yes.
You
Get
don't
it
have to
out of
hold it
you.
anymore. Let's say it. Let's honor how this felt for you. Right. It's not like
Yes.
I
Oh,
really believe the things that are coming out, but like this part of
or
me
just
is
still stay
young.
in there. That you got to get it out,
Yeah.
process it.
Right. And then I
Yes.
think it's just to like a being in a relationship with her. Right. Like, hey, like I want to make space for you to not have to pretend you're fine. It's so important to me that you can be real with me. And like when you come home from school and it's been a long day and you've been like smiling through all of it, of course you're going to like be just kind of like, oh, everybody leave me alone. Like, why don't we, like, that's our new thing. I will assume that you will let me know when you're ready to talk. Right.
Okay.
But like,
Yeah.
I am not okay with you being so shitty to me. Like I use cuss words with my kids. You can find a cleaner way to say that, but like you're being
My son
shitty to
says it.
me.
He's like, "Amaya, don't talk to mom that way." And I'm like, "But I got
Yeah.
it." And
Yep.
he's 7. And I'm like, because then he's probably like, "Why can't I can't
Right.
I know I can't talk to mom like that," but he doesn't
Right.
see me checking the behavior. So he'll
Mhm.
do it he'll be like, but in my mind, I'm like, "Ignore the
Right.
behavior, negative seeking brain." And he's
No, no,
like, "Bitch,
no.
stop
That's
talking
giving
to
her
mom."
because there's no check on her power.
I
Like,
know, but he told me not to. So
I
now
know.
I'm looking at it differently. But my son will be
Yeah,
like, "Hey, don't talk
I
to
know.
mom like that." I have to run. I wish I would
Okay.
seriously talk to you for the rest of the day. I'm glad you didn't give all 5 because now people can go get the book. The book is Good
Hey,
Kids: Why You Suffered in Silence and How to Break the Cycle. It's available everywhere. Where can people get more from you?
MaggieNick.com.
Okay. And Maggie with Perspectives on
Maggie with
Instagram.
Perspectacles and TikTok, yeah, and
Fabulous.
Facebook.
And we'll end it with, what is the one thing that you want someone who listened to our conversation today to make sure they take with them?
There is nothing wrong with you. There never was. You were told that. Those were just words. You were not meant to carry that forever. It was never true. And it still isn't. And you're wonderful and precious and lovable as hell.